Memo to markets, SF is not Syriza and Ireland is not Greece. Memo to markets, SF is not Syriza and Ireland is not Greece. It is still hard to gauge the possible economic implications of the momentous weekend. We have no idea what the complexion of the future government will look like, that is assuming a government can be formed and that a very early election can be avoided.A. Sinn Féin-Fianna Fáil coalition looks the most obvious and workable solution at this juncture. It seems clear that Sinn Féin as the party that gained most votes cannot and should not be prevented from entering government. The process of government formation will commence over the coming days, and while the manifestos of those involved will give guidance on what any program for government might look like, all parties will have to realize that compromises will have to be made and that not all of the promises made to the electorate will be delivered upon. Given how unforgiving the Irish electorate has shown itself to be, that will be a political challenge for Sinn Féin in particular. There has been some strong reaction to the possibility of Sinn Féin in government, but I think it is important to bear in mind that this is not Syriza back in 2014. It took over a Greek economy in deep crisis and made some pretty mad policy suggestions which, luckily for Greece, it did not get to implement in the main.Sinn Féin, and whoever accompanies the party would be taking over an economy that is growing quite strongly, which is close to full employment, and has a modest budget surplus. However, Ireland still has a dangerously high level of government debt. Careful management of the public finances is essential. In its manifesto, Sinn Féin committed to an additional €12 billion in day-to-day spending on public services and social welfare, and a further €10 billion in additional capital expenditure, with housing accounting for the bulk of it. Some of this will be funded through a tax-raising package of €3.8 billion. Fianna Fáil promised increased resources of over €9.7 billion, with €7.9 billion allocated to additional expenditure measures. It promised to ease the tax burden at a cost of over €1.8 billion. The two parties are both committed to lots of extra spending. The key message delivered by the electorate at the weekend is that housing and health must get priority, with childcare and insurance costs also important. Sorting three of these problems will involve spending lots of money. It is essential that the money is spent wisely, with a focus on outputs rather than just inputs. I assume that Sinn Féin is sensible enough to realize that to achieve success in its social objectives, it will require a vibrant economy to generate the necessary resources. It should not send out a message that Ireland is set to become a lot less friendly to those businesses and individuals who generate the wealth and the employment that keep the economy. For more on this story, visit the news article link.